Well, it says it's live, so ahoy hoy! I'm Planner Walk, and welcome to a stream where we're talking about Steve McRae. And Steve, I'm joined with FTFE, Chesh, and Dapper. Everyone's just doing their intro right now, I guess. So, yeah, I'll unmute and we'll see how everyone is doing. I hope you're all doing well. This is also being streamed on FTFE's channel, by the way. So, yeah, let's see what's going on in the thing. I'm trying to remember the different things that I used. There we go. Wait. One second. I need to fix my audio. This is okay. I need to. Hold on. Let me. I keep on pressing the wrong button. There we go. Is it
also
this?
Joining me is the lovely, amazing Planner Walk from Down Under. How are you?
Ahoy hoy! I just finally got my audio working because nobody could hear you.
Planner is also streaming over on her channel if you'd like to check out there. Planner Walk has had several fiery interactions with Steve McRae recently and has firsthand seen the crazy downfall that Steve McRae has initiated and has some very unique perspectives that we're going to go into. But the main person here today is our resident Steve McRaeologist, Chesh. Chesh, how the devil are you?
How dare you? My day is now worse. My life is now worse for you giving me that title, and now I'm gonna have to live with it forever because now everybody knows that, and I'm gonna go throw myself into a bus after this.
If it makes you feel better, originally, Craig reached out to Planner Walk and I was like, you know who you really need to reach out to? It was Chesh, and that's why I added you to the group chat planning this.
Listen, it's not that you're wrong, it's just that I hate you.
I understand. I hate me too. Chesh has had some very unique time with Steve McRae, including spending a lot of time actually being a host on a show on his channel. A very large part of the Steve McRae community, and has had a very close first-hand view of what has happened to Steve McRae. I wasn't aware of a lot of the stuff that has happened.
Same here.
I created a group chat with me, with Chesh, Planner, and Dapper, and the things that I've learned already about Steve McRae are blowing my mind. And in case anyone was wondering, the main reason we're doing this is my channel is where we attack stupid people. Turns out, Steve McRae's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, to put it mildly. And also, going into evil on top of being stupid makes it worse.
Yeah, he has not only become stupid, but he's become a horrific human being, which is traits that a lot of flat earthers have.
I think that bigotry to be a bigot, the prerequisite is you have to be a certain level of stupid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But also, I have had a thought, and that is Steve McRae from 4 or 5 years ago would call the Steve McRae of today an idiot.
Oh, yeah. And he would also call the Steve McRae of today a bigot and a horrible person.
Yeah.
It's almost as though he had a head injury at some point, or that there was a rift open in universes and a variant of Steve McRae swapped places. Something happened. And it all started with the Nonsequitur show, right? So when I started YouTube, I was so excited that I got invited on the Nonsequitur show, which was at the point the debate channel on the internet. And that was the first I really heard of Steve McRae, and he seemed like a great guy. But then I didn't realize there was a lot of drama in the background with the channel. Chesh, do you want to fill us in on what actually happened?
The background of the first Non-Sequitur show explosion?
Yes.
So Steve has always been a little bit contentious. He's always been cantankerous in some of the ways that he would approach conversations, whether those conversations were difficult or not. Arrogant is another way to put it. And he was very stubborn and set in his ways. And he's always been like that. That's not new information. And so that had caused contention with Kyle, who was sort of trying to be nice to everybody, as well as the other hosts of other shows on the Non-Sequitur show that Kyle had brought on. And there was if you want to put it nicely, not good communication of who was still in charge of what. So Kyle was taking on a lot of extra work, and Steve and Boole were kind of getting shoved out a little bit. And so there was finally a turning point where, for SEO reasons, Kyle had asked Steve for ownership of the channel, because Steve was the one who had originally made the channel itself with the email and stuff. So Steve handed it over, and then Steve unilaterally kicked out both Kyle kicked out both Steve and Boole. And so that was that big conversation that happened over on Red's Rhetoric's channel when that happened, and then Shannon Q tried to come in and play mediator, and that whole thing blew up. Proceeded to go into a legal battle where Steve sued Kyle for the show, because for a total, I believe he ended up winning a total of triplicate damage on $60,000 and the channel back, as well as all the rights to all of the artwork and everything that had been made on the channel at that point. I don't know if he collected on that or where that's at. I
highly doubt it, given what I know.
I don't know how Kyle would have paid that.
Well, even if Kyle didn't pay it, I don't know if he sent there's options, right? You could sell it to a creditor or something. So, but I don't know, never saw it, don't know anything about how much he collected, if any. I do know that when he got the channel back, that dipshit didn't change over who got the next roll of money through Google ads like a goddamn moron, until
so it's still being paid to Kyle.
Sorry, are we allowed to swear here?
Yes.
Yeah, this isn't my channel.
Right. So that happened. After he got the channel back, not long after, or just before he got the channel back, Boole died, sadly, and that was depressing, and a whole thing. So that put me in a position where I had to take over being both the producer for Boole and kind of taking up Kyle's position of that intermediary between the intellectual side and the layman side, and kind of bridging that gap. Or being the charisma of the show, I guess, would be another way to put it. But yeah, that's about what happened with that. So the person who funded that was Ruhif, and as far as I know, up to this date, not only has Steve never publicly thanked Ruhif for that, but has never given him any of that money back, which he did say he was going to pay back to him.
Right, so to break down the Non-Sequitur show, debate show, hosted by both Steve McRae and Kyle Curtis, with behind the scenes Boolinator being the editor and the producer. and you, Chesh, helping with a bunch of stuff as well. Obviously, Godless Engineer and myself were also hosts on the show a lot and things like that, Yep. But because of arguments between two egotistical assholes, Steve and Kyle, nobody could agree as to who actually owned things, and it ended up in a court case where all the money that was made by the channel was owed to Steve, but the court case was actually funded by another member of the community called Ruhif, who Steve has then ghosted.
Yes, yeah. The court case, I believe, lasted somewhere between 2 and 3 years. So that's it was a lot. It was a pain. There was a lot of dumb things that went on with that.
To be fair, most of that was Kyle being dumb.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that it's not just Steve's fault what's happened, but here's the thing, right? Everybody loved the Non-Sequitur show, and everyone was devastated that the argument between Steve and Kyle made what happen, destroyed the show. And when Steve got the show back, everybody in the community was excited, because we were like, yes, we're getting the Non-Sequitur show back.
Yep.
So how the fuck did Steve McRae fuck that up so badly?
One of the things that Steve knew at the time and throughout the court case and like before and after is that Steve can't run the show by himself. He always knew that. I don't know if he knows that now, but at the time he was very well aware that he needed at least one or two other people working with him. And so he kind of imploded. He was out drinking at an Applebee's, got sloshed, and then ate shit. Now, there's some speculation about whether or not he tripped and fell, or if somebody beat him up because he was being kind of a weirdo at the bar. So, you know, take that for however you will. Anyway, he ate shit.
I'll add to that. There have been multiple reports by multiple women saying that he's a bit of a weirdo when he goes on dates. So, like, you know.
Yeah, I've heard the same
plausible.
things, yes.
Not socially adept in that sort of a
That's
scenario.
putting it mildly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm being kinder than I should be.
I don't know Steve as well as anyone else here. I probably know him the least, but I do remember that he did kind of take the label of asshole as a kind of moniker.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely see where that comes from.
See, the thing is, there's a way to be an asshole in like an acceptable manner. Like take like a Dave Farina, right? He is an asshole, but to people who deserve it, he's not going around and like, you know, taking and spreading pictures of his dates with not just without their consent, against their consent.
In some cases,
as some kind of bragging right. Like that's not the kind of asshole he's being. So like when we say asshole, we mean like he is doing things that people have specifically asked him not to for bragging rights. And just to be a dick to people who do not deserve it.
Yeah,
that is weird. I will admit.
During the breakup, I should also note that Katie Joy Poulsen, who is now a relatively large YouTuber who talks about like true crime and reality TV shows, she was handedly siding with Kyle and made some accusations about Steve. Like, first she said he sexually harassed her, and then she rolled it back to that he made her feel uncomfortable one time, but then she changed, like, when the time was or what she was talking about. They ended up with, like, she sent him a TRO, a restraining order, and then they settled outside of court to not talk about each other for 2 years. And then as soon as that 2 years was up, Steve started talking about her again.
So Steve had a restraining order against Katie Joy Poulsen?
No. Yeah, well, okay.
The other way around, sorry.
Katie originally got a temporary restraining order because when you file for a restraining order, you usually just get a temporary one until court happens or until you settle. So there's a temporary restraining order. They came to an agreement outside of court. They agreed not to talk about each other for 2 years, and then once that was over, he started talking about her again, and then he served her pocket service a restraining order in return. So she had his TRO. Right. That eventually he never filed it. He asked for money for it, said he was going to go all the way on it, said he was picking up an extra job to be able to pay for it, and then he never filed it. So you can take that for what you will, and then never gave anybody their money back. So there's that.
So it's another case of him not giving people money back after not even saying thank you to Ruhif.
Also,
there's a rumor in the chat. I don't know, if it's confirmed, but someone says that Ruhif's wife threatened to divorce him when she found out that he was funding Steve's stuff.
I don't know too many of the details about that, but I do know that there was actually contention between Ruhif and his wife about that, and that's one of the reasons why Ruhif went away and stopped funding it near the end. But Steve should have been able to wrap it up.
Yeah, but then so Steve just totally ghosted the person that funded it, which is horrible.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah.
So one amusing thing about this whole fundraiser thing is that one person who at one point was a very big supporter of Steve's in terms of just advocacy as well as financial support, donated a fair bit to that fundraiser, and then requested a refund from GoFundMe on the grounds that the funds had not been used for what Steve said they were going to be used for, essentially saying that Steve was basically defrauding the donors. And this person was given the refund, at which point Steve accused this person of credit card fraud.
Yeah.
And then also said that he had sent the FBI after this person who, by the way, at the time resided in New Zealand, which means that the FBI was going to do fuck all about this.
You want to know who's not going to mind that their name is out there? Manya.
Yeah, okay, it's Manya. Yeah.
Manya.
Okay, I just wanted to.
He was like, "Oh yeah, the FBI is investigating her. They're going to get her any time now." I was like, "Yeah, okay, Steve."
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear that it wasn't me. Just in
Someone in the
case
chat
people
saying that I should
think.
debate G-Man, and I'm totally down for that. But after the last debate I had with G-Man, I don't know if they talked to me again.
So here's the key to interacting with G-Man: have an attractive white woman with you.
Also, bring G-Man on to talk shit about Steve. It'd be really funny.
That's true.
Crashes $5 says pineapple pizza for O, especially the Craig clone. He needs better tasting pizza than the last one. Good to have everyone together. I'm not a fucking clone.
How many dots do you have under your eyelid?
I've got a barcode.
Oh, okay. What does it say?
I can't read barcode.
You can't?
I can read binary.
Oh, okay.
Did you not get the cybernetic implant that allows you to read barcodes?
But I'm not a clone.
I thought
No,
mine was
cybernetic is not a clone.
These are separate concepts.
I did get a few super chats, so let me read them out. A sinister porpoise for $10 says a trans woman having problems with Steve McRae. I find that hard to believe. Yeah, we will get to that. I remember when.
Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get there.
Yeah,
We're going to be here for a while.
And the turtle moves for €2 says this shit was bad enough the first time round. Yeah, I didn't know half of the stuff.
Yeah.
When it was
I
happening.
saw that you were on Nonsequitur, and I was like, uh-oh. Somebody doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I had no clue.
So at this point in time, right, Steve McRae has now fucked up the Nonsequitur show and the court case around it.
Yeah.
And people are starting to realise that Steve isn't quite who he has portrayed, right?
Or at least the way he used to be. Like, that's one of the things where I brought up the Boston pizza situation. He literally ate shit. You cannot convince me he didn't have a concussion. He had a welt and like this massive bruise on his head. He was complaining about headaches. He refused to go to the doctor. He was like complaining about being dizzy. And then suddenly this dipshit decided he wanted to do to me what Kyle did to him and Bull.
Yeah,
And
so
he went fishing for support. He messaged me on Twitter to start talking about like, hey, how do you think the show's going? And I'm like, well, you're establishing a somewhat new format, so it's a little shaky to begin with, but I think it's improving. And
for context, this is the Coffee Time show on Steve McRae's channel.
No, that was like a whole... In the interim, while the lawsuit was going on, I hosted a show with Bull as producer. It was called Caffeine Corner. That was like about critical thinking and breaking down social...
On the Nonsequitur show.
It wasn't on the Nonsequitur show because that was Kyle still had control of the show. It was just Steve's regular channel.
Right,
when Steve got the show back, I was the secondary host and producer of the Nonsequitur show for about 4 episodes, maybe 5. You can tell. Like, you go scroll through the live streams and you will see the difference between Steve making thumbnails, me making thumbnails, and Kyle making thumbnails. There's a definitive line difference. Yeah.
For one thing, Chesh would never reuse someone's anniversary party invite to an in Minecraft server party with the invite information still up there in her thumbnail about Minecraft.
It was really funny.
Right.
Steve has a Minecraft show, and right there in plain text, you can see it's an invitation to someone's on server in-game anniversary party, and it's like, what the hell is happening?
Right,
the number of
to catch up then.
Man uses gives me a headache.
I do not believe you, so I'm going to check right now.
Yeah, do it.
Right, so to catch up, he's fucked up the Nonsequitur show. He has ghosted the person that funded his court case against Kyle Curtis with the Nonsequitur show.
He got the channel back and then he fucked it up again.
Got the channel back, he's fucked up. So then he's... you've started hosting and producing a show on his channel, Caffeine Corner.
Well, so Caffeine Corner is before he gets the channel back. So the order is loses channel, starts lawsuit, starts Caffeine Corner as a way to bring in money, because as far as I know, at that time he doesn't have like a full-time.
It was like as an intern for the people who were wanting the Nonsequitur show back, as like a show to keep people engaged and give people updates.
So when he gets the show back, he has a few episodes with Chesh, and then he starts reaching out to the people who were his moderators, which included me, and trying to basically fish for reasons to get rid of Chesh. But none of us were giving any, because we all thought she was a good addition to the show, because we all also knew that Steve sure as fuck couldn't handle it on his own. And so finally, he has this big mod call over on the Discord server, where he has all the mods go into a mod only and him voice channel on Discord, and he talks about like he's thinking he's gonna kick Chesh out and it's gonna be done. And basically every single mod told him, Steve, we will leave if you do this. This is a really bad idea. You need her there or someone. This is also, you were underpaying Chesh on Caffeine Corner because you were offering her a profit share from the Nonsequitur indefinitely. That's one of the reasons you were able to pay her so little.
Right. So
I'll send it to you.
Just to clarify, so Chesh has started hosting and producing a show on Steve's channel with Steve, Caffeine Corner, as a way to help Steve make money. But there was an agreement in place that Chesh would get paid for it. Chesh, tell us about that agreement.
Well, the way Caffeine Corner worked is I got like a percentage of the super chats after YouTube took their cut, and Boole got a flat rate per show. Right. So I did get that. But part of the interim and part of what I was doing and the work I was doing and a lot of the Non-Sequitur show background work I was doing, that was, some of it was like a little bit legal related when it came to like finding a piece of information or whatever, but I wouldn't really call that kind of work. But like setting up the layouts, production, pre-production, community management, all that stuff that had to happen in the background. The decision about that was with the concept that the show was supposed to be 50-50. So the same deal that was with Kyle.
Right. But
and Steve explicitly said Chesh is the new Kyle, which set up the expectation in everyone's mind, except for him apparently, that meant that Chesh was going to be getting 50% of the profits of the Non-Sequitur show from here on out, period.
Then he started trying to double dip on everything, which was pretty fucking crazy. The moderator, the call that he had with the moderators is available publicly if anybody wants to watch it. It is, some of Argumentation is some of the most insane shit ever. One of the guys, Mr. Serious, straight up called him out for, he's like, either you actually don't understand this or you're gaslighting right now. And Steve was like, oh no, don't say that. No, don't say that.
The chat on both channels are asking, what was the reason Steve had for wanting to get rid of you, Chesh? Why,
I want to know
after you
that
set
too.
up this show? Yeah, so you've helped him set up this show on his channel, which is then going to bleed over to the Non-Sequitur show to help him survive because he's fucked everything else up. So you've literally tried to help him. You're producing a show. Everyone's enjoying you as a host. Why did he decide that he didn't want you as part of the show?
I don't know the full answer to that.
What?
I don't know.
I have a little information.
Reason. I have a couple of ideas, but I don't know the actual reason.
So I did actually, in one of the last communications I ever had with Steve, in which we actually directly responded to each other rather than him just complaining about me on Twitter, which has been hilarious, to be fair.
It is very funny.
It really is. I asked him, like, what are you doing? What's happening right now? And he said that he had promised Reds that he would always maintain control of the channel. So I don't know how much about anything that Reds might have against Chesh that Chesh wants to get into, but I suspect that it was, at least in part, manipulation from Reds Rhetoric, who had a reason to want Chesh gone that, again, we'll let Chesh get into to the degree that she wants to.
Well, so I did hear that, but he brought that up during mediation because he went out and pulled up a guy named Chris from Australia who allegedly claims to be a professional in this field, who said he's like, I'm not going to listen to either side before doing mediation, and then definitively listened to Steve. And so, like, that, by the way, is also publicly available if you want to watch that. But, alas, regardless of my opinion, he did bring that up, and I said, but I'm not contesting you for control of the channel. I'm not contesting this. Don't care. I'm not asking you to give me,
You just want the 50-50 money because of all the work you're doing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking for control rules. I was the closest thing we got to, like, we never argued about what should be or shouldn't be on the channel. We never had any disagreements about which guests to bring on or which topics to have. So all of this was based on a hypothetical that I was going to be unreasonable and try to take control of the channel away from Steve.
Wait, so this was all in Steve's mind. He just had an idea that you were going to try and usurp the show.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I still maintain was implanted into his brain by Red's rhetoric.
Okay,
But
obviously we don't have any confirmation of that. We do know there's a very close, or at least there was a very close relationship between Reds and Steve. They've always been very good friends. And I know Reds was deeply involved in the conversation behind the Non-Sequitur show. He tried to act as a mediator between the conversations with Steve and Kyle and stuff.
He did initially, and then when it was me, Boole, and Steve working, he took a back seat and stepped back. He sort of maintained, like, having a position of, like, if there was a disagreement about something, then it would be fine to bring him in. And him and Steve were talking about wanting to do shows together, and Steve was coming to me being like, hey, so Reds is going to want to stream on the Non-Sequitur show. Do you care? And I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. Why would I care about that? Of course he can stream to the channel. Now, the reason Steve was concerned about whether or not I would care is because Reds and I dated and then stopped dating.
Yeah.
So there was concern probably from his, and I mean, that's a reasonable concern to have, but I never cared and never pushed any kind of power situation and never had an opinion about it. I was like, I don't care. If Reds doesn't want me to be there to do the production, then you guys can do it yourselves.
Yeah, there's no even though you and Reds dated and it didn't end well, there's no reason why you both couldn't be adults and work on the same channel.
Sure, yeah, like there wasn't a whole lot of, like, contention around our breakup either, at least not from my end.
Yeah.
You're being adults about it. Or you tried to be, at least.
So we don't know the actual reason why Steve wanted to get rid of you from Caffeine Corner. There is thoughts that Reds could have been involved, but we're not going to say whether that's the case because we don't know that definitively. But basically, we don't know why he wanted to do it. So what actually happened?
So he tried to do this mod call thing, and he pulled Dapper in. Then he tried to do a mediation thing, which Dapper was also in.
Yeah.
And he stonewalled all negotiation and mediation, so, like, no discussion ever actually went anywhere. He went out of his way and told all the moderators that he was going to be transparent and, like, set up this expectation that people should know what happened in the mediation, and then immediately, as soon as mediation happened, he was like, no, nobody can record this. And I was just like, no. And I recorded it, because of course I did.
Yeah, no one could tell you that.
And it was a good call.
Yeah. You think? It's almost like I'm not Steve, and Steve wasn't going to be able to Kyle me as easy as Kyle was able to Kyle Steve.
I want to be clear that none of this is attacking Red's rhetoric. Red's rhetoric is a part of this story, but no one here is, attacking Reds in any way. He is just part of the story.
If you do want to see something really funny about what happened in the aftermath, so Steve never announced that I wasn't part of the show anymore on the Non-Sequitur show. In fact, Steve never even made a video explaining what happened. Reds made a video talking shit about me that was posted on Steve's personal channel, and I haven't watched the whole thing, but the part that I did watch is very, very funny, and I definitely recommend watching it.
Well, that's lovely, yeah. Jay's been a member for 13 months, says, 13-month membership? What is wrong with me? What's wrong is that's not 24 months. Stay. Austin Sims, $10, says, Steve bragged to me that he had a Nazi girlfriend with a swastika tattoo on her chest. He also claims that he is Jewish, which is super weird. I'm not sure either of those things are true, but the guy sucks.
Allegedly.
Just that you would brag about it, whether it's true or not, is already pretty damn weird.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Austin. I appreciate it. Right. So where are we? So he's now said that he doesn't want you on Caffeine Corner, and Reds has done an announcement on Nonsequitur.
Yeah.
But the show was the Caffeine Corner, right? Or was that?
No, that had ended.
No, the show was Nonsequitur.
Right, so you'd moved over to Nonsequitur from the Caffeine Corner, which was the preamble on his channel, basically.
Right.
And now he has got rid of you from Nonsequitur without really a reason, even though you were technically entitled to kind of half the money for everything that you've been doing.
Yeah. So in this interim, he sent me through the mediator a contract, which I'm pretty sure I sent it to you, Craig. You might want to take a look at it. It is insane. It is like one of the most insane things I have ever seen in my life. He basically wrote down that he wanted to control my entire online presence.
What?
And I was just like, yeah.
Also, I want to point out, so first of all, I'm not a lawyer. So this is my non-expert, but I have been trying to keep in touch with what's going on in this situation, take on this. In California, if you want to take someone on as a contractor rather than an employee, there are requirements about that, including that you are not allowed to put in an exclusivity clause in your contract for contractor work. That is, if you put in an exclusivity clause for work, that person has to be treated like an employee, which means you need to follow the US and California labor regulations for employees, including benefits and paying payroll taxes. Now, obviously, Steve did not want to do any of that because, I mean, to be fair, it is a fucking hassle, right? Like, I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But in that contract, there was an exclusivity demand, which means that he sent her an illegal contract, an unenforceable contract.
It was very illegal. Very, very illegal what he sent me. And I was just like, what is this? And in the meantime, he started going around in the background to people privately and telling people that I was blackmailing him. And I was like, with what? What did you do that I'm blackmailing you with?
And I just want to point out, guys, that during all of this, Steve is still displaying himself as a man of science, logic, reasoning, and more importantly, as an ally. All right, that's that's what Steve is portraying at this point, and you'll understand why I've said that when we get to it with Planner Walk's side of the story.
Yeah,
bit.
I do want to say that there is literally a clip out there of him saying that he is an ally to the transgender community.
Yep.
Oh yeah. No, I've seen.
Up until this point, I know personally of several trans people who were members of, or who were watching his content, who were parts of like the Discord. I don't know if there were any in like the moderator call. I don't know if he had any of them as moderators, but like it was not a terribly uncommon thing to see trans people in his audience because he wasn't doing what he's doing now.
Right.
Which is, threatening to kill trans people. Let's be very clear.
Yeah. We're not going to beat around the bush. He is inciting violence on anyone of a trans ideology, and we'll get to showing that. And some people in the chat are like, why are we caring? I want to make it clear. My channel is about exposing stupid people and horrific people. Steve McRae fits both those things. Stick around. There's lots more to come. Rodent No Last Name, member for 7 months, says, don't forget Katie, Joy, Shannon Q, and Goddess Engineer were pushing the edge to take over Nonsec as well.
Yes.
Jimmy Snow as well.
Yeah. It's Rubik's $2 says, who's ready for my hostile takeover of the channel? You gotta get out of the fucking basement first. Jesus. Rubik's $2 says, dinosaurs are cool, transphobia isn't.
Agreed. As a dinosaur.
Rock, you have some super chats as well?
Actually, I literally just got a super chat, and I also got a new member called Stop the Stupidity. Thank you for joining. But the sinister Porpoise says, take a drink anytime someone says implausible.
No, we don't want to listen to Steve. That could happen a lot.
There's a the next part of this is like during the mediation is when Manya decided she didn't want to be friends with Steve anymore, and then he accused her of credit card fraud.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Right, she was the one that requested money back from the GoFundMe because Steve didn't use the money for what he said he was going to.
She is one of the people who did. I know of, including her, at least 2 to 3 other people that did. Then there was one other person who requested money back from him specifically, which was Rez, R-E-Z, for anybody who's seen Rez around. He requested money back from Steve directly, and he was also the only one that Steve tried to, like, convince, I guess, to try to have a conversation with him. He was also one of the moderators and was in the moderator chat, and also had been a pretty substantial financial contributor to the show.
Right. Okay. So I hope everyone's up to date right now. We've got to the point where Steve has lied about Chesh and got rid of her from the Nonsequitur show.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I think one thing to point out is how fast the Nonsequitur show just completely fell off a cliff in terms of, like, any attention it was getting from anyone. Because the thing is, his entire audience was fans of both Chesh and Steve, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Steve was... Everyone framed it as Steve doing exactly to Chesh as what Kyle did to Steve, which isn't technically entirely true, but it's close enough that was the sentiment. Yeah. And so everyone was like, well, if we hated Kyle for doing this, we're sure as hell not going to support Steve doing it to someone else.
Steve made the mistake of confusing support for the show and the general, like, vibe and philosophy of the show and the community with support for Steve.
Yeah.
And that was never the case. And so I don't know. I imagine, like I said, his brain got fucking actually scrambled, and what you'll see from them that point on is, as I had mentioned earlier, Steve had always had he's stubborn, he's had a right-wing lilt to him, he's had bad ideas before, and sometimes it takes some time to talk him out of it, or like around it, or it takes a couple of people to give him those perspectives, but he had enough self-awareness to know that he needed people to have those discussions with. He knew he couldn't run the channel by himself. After he bashed his head, you see this lack of inhibition anymore. You see this lack of self-awareness. He no longer, like, takes those check yourself before you wreck yourself things, and he started isolating himself from anybody who would question him. Friends that he's had for not it's not just something that happened to me. These are people that he had been friends with long before me. There's a guy called God's Auditor that had been friends with Steve and talked to Steve and hung out with Steve over, like, alcohol and games for years, that Steve flipped on. Arnsgar recently, GeoStreamer recently as well. And, like, so...
He's flipped on Geo?
He fucking...
I've actually been talking to Geo recently, and Steve has come up.
What's happened with Geo and Steve? How could anyone not like Geo?
Steve and Geo got into an argument on Twitter about how the law exists and you can't just arrest and deport people for being illegal and calling them criminals without any due process.
Yeah.
Needless to say, Geo is on the reasonable side of that conversation.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because the thing is, I'm going to explain this, even though I'm pretty sure that no one watching needs it explained, but I feel like it should be something that's stated. If the government can take anyone and just disappear them without due process, that means that even if you think a certain group of people deserve that treatment, that is treatment that they can do to literally anyone, because if they just say you're in the class and you don't have an opportunity to say, no, I'm not, then guess what? All that matters is their say-so. Which means I don't care how white you are, I don't care how Christian you are, I don't care how cisgendered you are, I don't care how straight you are, I don't care how much of a Nazi you are, they will disappear you if they decide to.
Yeah, right. A couple of super chats. Dutch, the place of hostilities, Tunicate, $5. Hi all, I got half-price margaritas and I'm listening to a stream about dumb bigota. What can go wrong? We'll see. Tatted Tech, $1.99. But can the panel define atheism? Is that a joke about Steve? I think it might be.
Yes.
That is a joke about Steve.
The Geek Room, $1.99. Hey, not seen you for a while. Billy is poor. Billy?
Like Billy the Fridge?
Fogger Pershi Pakashi, member for 52 months. Hey Craig, sorry I haven't been in for a bit. Life in the US has been hell. Yeah, I've heard that. Glad to see you're okay. Hope to be here more. Hi Dapper and Planner.
Hello.
And Chesh.
Hello.
Well, fuck you, Chesh, I guess.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. It's a general sentiment that is understandable and reasonable, and in fact should be the proper response.
What, just fuck you, Chesh?
I do
Ignore
think,
me. Go away.
I do think we should talk a little bit about the about his whole atheism thing, because I do remember that basically, I can't remember the exact argument that he had, but basically he was saying that if you say that atheism is a lack of belief in any gods, then you are wrong, because because academia doesn't define it that way, or something like that.
If you can give it a slightly more nuanced and Steelman-y interpretation, which is to say that while it is the case that words do mean what people use them to mean, there are competing definitions for atheism, and one of them is more useful than the other in terms of clear communication, and it's the one used in academia. And there are reasons why you would argue for that. But Steve was not terribly good at giving the more nuanced version of it. And so he would sometimes just do things that seemed to come down to, well, the philosophers disagree with you. At which point people are like, oh, okay.
Which is that's just semantics at that point.
The amount of times he told me I'm not an atheist when I said to him, I just don't believe there's a God.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's not what an atheist is. And I'm like,
Then
that's
he would be going against his own argument if he said that. If you said I don't believe or not believe in a god, I just lack a belief in a god, that's the one that he had issue with. And like there's issues you can have with that. There's like practical and utilitarian reasons that you might not want to use that definition. It's also not terribly useful in a handful of ways. But like it's such like a who fucking cares?
Exactly.
Yeah, Steve is wrong about pretty much everything he says about atheism, and that, to be honest. Right, Dirty Ketchup 4.99. Steve tried to grope a granny one time inside the casino of a cruise ship to Mount Meru. Remember that, guys?
I don't remember
I
that
didn't
one.
know he was ever on a cruise ship.
Also, Mount Meru isn't a real place, so I feel like he might not have ever been on a cruise to there.
Yeah, Dirty Ketchup might actually be a friend of Arwen, so never mind. The Geek Room 199. Sorry. Tatted Tech, Billy is poor. Right, okay, I see. Gary IOW, member 27 months, says, I shall turn 60 into 20 minutes. I'm surprised I made it this far, to be honest.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Good man. Happy birthday. Yes, indeed. You're way past the life expectancy of most people in America at this point, I'm sure. Right, so Steve
in the
has
mid-70s. Okay?
Yeah.
For now.
For now, yeah.
Steve has fucked pretty much everything up to this point, including his chance of an online career. So let's talk about the more horrific things that he has done. Who wants to explain why he's had restraining orders?
That's a Chesh thing there.
That's me.
I have trouble keeping track of this court case.
So I sort of stopped paying it. Once I was out of the picture, I sort of stopped paying attention to what Steve was doing for the most part, because I'm like, not my circus, not my monkey.
Everyone else.
Yeah, well, a lot of the people who were watching Nonsequitur and who were active on Nonsequitur and the moderators all hang out on my channel now. So they everybody just sort of left with me. So that's one of the reasons why the Nonsequitur show got as dead as it did, as quickly as it did. You can actually, if you open the social blade and you look, you can see when the show came back, and then you can see immediately when I left, and it just falls off a cliff.
And you got Landon Noel in the divorce, which makes me very happy.
I got Landon in the divorce! But alas, so the restraining orders are a little bit of like a rabbit hole. So I wasn't paying attention too close for a little while, but people would send me stuff. And so I noticed that Steve had gotten really, really into shitting on Katie Joy. I don't really know why his brain is just latched onto this. Like, to this day, he's still going, and like, I don't get it.
I also found it very obsessive as well.
Yeah,
every single person. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, he seems like he has this. He seems to be really obsessive about things when when his brain just starts sort of thinking about something.
I might be wrong, and maybe I'm leaning too hard into he bashed his head on concrete and lost a fight with the sidewalk. But the stuff that he talks about now is very cyclical, and none of the stuff he talks about has moved past that point in time, except for now the MAGA stuff, which seems to me to just be more an amped up version of stuff he was kind of leaning towards, but people were moving him away from at the time.
Yeah.
So seems to kind of be stuck.
He used to have people who would pull him back from the brink of absolute insanity every once in a while and be like, Steve, come on, what are you doing?
So when people called me Steve's babysitter, they weren't kidding. Like, that wasn't...
It included me, it included Chesh, it included the other moderators who were on Nonsequitur.
It included Manya, it included Red's Rhetoric, it included... there's a lot of us.
But pretty much everyone, except maybe Reds, left Steve right around this... Well, actually, as a result of him kicking Chesh out. And so he hasn't had that anymore. And I think that was the last thing that was holding him back from just going... full
batshit crazy.
Batshit crazy, and also like, hey, maybe fascism was a good idea after all.
He's been hitting every bigot step on the way down the fascist staircase.
Yeah,
I thought
I'm just waiting for him. Sorry,
I was just gonna say here. I thought it was like just Twitter being bought by Elon Musk.
No.
I think that's certainly. I think that certainly enabled it, but.
Yeah. So Steve got a. Who was the? Well, I don't know he'd say the name, but the restraining order. He couldn't go near and talk about certain people, right?
Yeah. So the restraining order stuff is related to the Katie Joy and anti-Katie Joy community. Like, the anti-Katie Joy community is like kind of crazy. They they hate this woman. You ever been like, you ever hate somebody where you're like, oh, look at fucking Becky over there fucking breathing, that bitch. That's what these people think about Katie Joy. And so they like...
To be fair, there are some problems with Katie Joy that people can legitimately have.
Yeah, sure.
She's
I've criticized her in the past. There's been stuff that's gone on. I nominated her for Dumb Fuck of the Year one year. Like, there's like shit. But like, for the most part, she's moved past a lot of that and just focuses on like reality TV show stuff. So I don't fucking know. These people fucking hate her. And so... there was Steve now has like a new set of friends, which I now affectionately call the company, as they are essentially a group of people that go around the internet to talk shit about Katie Joy and then just pick out specific people to then just harass the shit out of. Well, in their Facebook group, yes, this started in a Facebook group, some random private woman was asked to help mediate the group. Steve didn't like that him and his friends got moderated within normal Facebook parameters. All this lady said was, please don't take and repost people's copyrighted content. It's against terms of service. Thanks. If you post it, we're going to take it down. And then they all got really mad.
What? That caused the restraining order?
So that was the initiating thing that all these people got mad at. Now, this lady is just a private lady. She doesn't have a YouTube channel. She's not a content creator. She doesn't write a blog. Like, she doesn't have any kind of internet presence at all. And they got so mad at this lady for this that they went through her Facebook and found posts from 5 years ago of her estranged stepdaughter to bring her on to YouTube to talk shit about her.
That's insane.
They found a hairdresser from years ago who had an issue with this woman and then tried to bring her on to talk shit.
But to be clear, because she acted like a moderator doing a moderator's job.
Yes. Now,
to prevent the group from being taken down for TOS violations.
Yes, literally. And this woman gave up her permission, like her mod status, almost right away, like within a week. From my understanding, it looks like she tried to do some kind of like, what's going on? Why is everybody mad at me? I don't understand. And then was like, okay, take the group. I don't care. I don't want any part of this. And then they started reaching out to her family members and trying to bring... Steve did, like, within a week, did somewhere around, like, 48 hours or 72 hours worth of streaming. It was crazy just talking...
About this girl?
About the... Yes. Yeah.
And this is the girl that ended up having a restraining order against Steve?
Yes.
Because he just decided to publicly cyberbully her.
Yeah.
For hours and hours and hours.
And I got brought into this because Steve made the accusation that this woman swatted him. And somebody sent that to me, and I went, what? Now, after I said, what, I proceeded to take a look at his description of what he said happened, and I'm like, that's not a SWAT. That is just the police knocking on your door to see if there's anything going on, and then leaving.
Yeah.
And then he didn't like that, so he sent his little fucking goober boy to come and deliver to my doorstep a photograph, like a picture that he took on his phone, of his police paperwork. So then I proceeded to use that to then make a video. Like, well, he gave me the paperwork. Let me take a look to see what this is. It was definitively not swatting. It was not a SWAT. There was no SWAT happening at all. This then escalated into all of his friends, that I now call the company, all saying, Chesh is right, but fuck her anyway. And one of them proceeded to send me her fucking sealed court documentation of this woman filing for a restraining order against her.
Okay, that is batshit crazy. Does this relate to what you said earlier to me about the court case he lost because of you not being there?
Yeah, that's this one.
Right, okay. Give me 1 sec. Brandon Worrell, $2, says, I owe Steve quite a bit, but he seems hateful now. Hateful is a light way of putting it. Dirty Ketchup 199 says, Steve once told me he actually caught an orca. Colon member for 22 months says, 2 months to 24, but fuck my life. A show about Steve McRae and No Moon. Let's not forget that shit show and all the fuck around and find out that went on. Oh, yes.
No, that's true. But the big difference is, I don't see Moon currently on Twitter calling for the death of trans people.
Nope. Yeah. Nope.
So
let's be clear, Steve McRae is.
Yeah. So Moon did the only appropriate thing to do after it comes out that you've been grifting on fake cancer, which is she gave everyone their money back who wanted it through a lawyer and then fucked off and stayed fucked off.
Yep.
That's why
I wasn't aware of all that someone had faked cancer that was a friend with Steve.
Yeah, it was Moon. And to be fair, Steve, as far as I know, was not involved in that situation in particular. But yeah,
he was.
She was telling people that she had cancer and had a GoFundMe, and a number of people supported it and put out videos asking people to support it. And then it turns out, no, she didn't have cancer. She had cancer way back when, apparently, but didn't have it now and was not undergoing cancer treatments now, and so didn't need any of this cancer money, although I'm sure the money was nice to have. And then, she got a lawyer. The lawyer said, well, your best bet is to pay this all back, and we should have all communications go through me. So she had her lawyer's phone number, everything set up. Everyone, as far as I know, who gifted or sent money that wanted it back, including me, got their money back, and then she just left the internet.
Yeah, that's kind of why we don't talk about it. It's a
right.
Is that Ilya Moon?
Yeah, that's Ilya Moon.
Yeah, no, I was involved in that. I forgot about that. Shit.
Yep.
Volga Persha Bakashi, $2 says, sorry, Chesh, I hadn't met you before. Hello.
Hi.
Jaber Maximo for 21 months says, I've just started work on a Flat Earth game. Oh, that sounds fun.
Oh, interesting.
I need to get mine done.
Mandevil wants to see the inciting clip of Steve McRae. Don't worry, we will get there. I've got screenshots of things he's been posting on X and Facebook.
I also sent you guys a timestamp video. Sorry, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Right, so
talk about.
Tell us how you not being a court case screwed things up.
So, this lady at that point had sent out multiple cease and desists. And they all made videos in response to this cease and desist, which is kind of the opposite because this one
that's not what you do with
public, right? And I can understand the haha very funny, and then it goes away and you kind of stop talking about it. But they didn't stop talking about it, and they kept going and it got more and more and more and escalated more and more and more and more. And we're talking tens of thousands of people now. More people were in watching videos. These videos were going out to more people than there are in this lady's town. So. From that point, they started having hearings where they had to start showing up. Well, somebody decided to fuck around to trying to log into the Zoom meeting. So Steve didn't accidentally, it seems, didn't show up to his hearing and ended up with a default restraining order. Yeah, because they were all trying to show up to each other's hearings. According to them, this is what they've said happened. That proceeded to have the court decide that everybody needed to show up in person.
Yeah, I should fucking say so.
Yeah, so from there, Steve did try to avoid service of this TRO, this restraining order that he received, in the dumbest way possible. At this point, Aaron had been served, and I believe a YouTuber who goes by Veda was also served, but Steve hadn't been served yet, and those were the initial 3. However, Steve was trying to avoid service because I guess he thought that this woman wasn't able to find him or didn't know where he lived, so he wouldn't get the restraining order.
I want to point out, trying to avoid service and doing stupid things around that is one of the reasons that the case went so poorly for Kyle in the first place. So Steve has first-hand information about how dumb a tactic this is.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't Kyle not show up to any of his hearings?
Yeah, that was a whole issue.
Yeah, eventually he did get a lawyer who then later left because, as far as we can tell, he was asking her to lie. But, you know.
The papers that I was served. There was so during this intern time where Steve tried in the dumbest possible way, you will never guess how he tried to avoid this lady getting his address.
How? I go on.
Oh, it's me.
This man tried to frame her in California court for crime and for harassment, stating that she swatted him and tried to do credit cards and sent her a pizza, of which he has no evidence and of which there is no fucking... He basically committed perjury.
Sorry. He said that she tried to send him a pizza.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What? Why?
Yeah, he was really upset about that pizza.
Send me free pizzas.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
If the number of people who hated me sent me free pizzas, I'd die covered in the number of pizzas that I would have.
I would put on weight.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, Chesh, to be fair, you're very small, so it doesn't take as many pizzas to crush you as it would a normal person.
I gotta sit at the little tiny table in the middle.
Hey, Howsoy, how you doing in the chat, my friend? Nice to see you.
There was, so he tried to avoid service by accusing this woman in California court. Now, there's something you need to know about California and Kansas and some of the differences when it comes to harassment restraining orders. In Kansas, harassment restraining orders are not publicly available through the portal. You can't search them, you don't get that information, right? They're not available to people. California, they are public, so this man had to fill out his paperwork with his address that had to be served to this woman that made his address not only public but also sent directly to her via certified mail to ensure that she wouldn't be allowed to look up what his address is.
Yep.
The fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to know why I know this? And this is what he did? You want to know why I know this?
Go on.
1, because the paperwork is fucking public. And 2, because he did a call with his new moderators. He did the same kind of call with his moderators in which he laid out what his plan was.
Oh, you fucking idiot, Steve.
And said out loud, do I know that this woman actually did this? No. But I'm going to go to court as if I do and present my case.
And guys, again, if you're wondering why I'm covering this, is because I cover stupid people. Tell me that's not fucking stupid.
I mean...
Dumb fuck of the year.
Can't, the statements you make on YouTube be used as evidence against you in court?
Oh,
yes!
That's a thing that's coming up.
And or madam. Listen. Friends. This moderation call was not public. Well, it was public, but it wasn't streamed. it was like, hey, anybody, Steve, like, let everybody know on streams that he was going to be having this, and anybody who wanted a link could join. This man, in his infinite wisdom and all of his logic, sent the link to the woman he was framing.
That's how we have the recording. She's the one who recorded it.
I don't know if she's the only one who recorded it, but she definitely recorded it.
I think I've got my nomination for top left next year.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how good would that be if Steve McRae won top left?
I would vote for him multiple times.
Yeah, same.
You could not be dumber in the way that he's done this. There's also clips of him on stream saying that he can't do things and certain things anymore, and so he encouraged other people to make channels to do those things. And the reason he can't do those things is because he got a default judgment for a restraining order. So he told people live on stream to harass this woman on his behalf.
Machine Gun in the chat has got it. Machine Gun in the chat says, okay, I'm totally lost. A person publicly did a legal thing, publicly stated he did it, then publicly stated that he will avoid punishment for it. Is that about right?
Yes. Then, those two people that he said, he did this on the Nonsequitur show, by the way. Those two people proceeded to make channels and do exactly what he asked them to do, and now both of them have restraining orders, and one of them has a lifetime restraining order for the same fucking lady. These people have gone 7 or 8 or 9 against this woman in court. They have just lost on every
oh my lord.
Every single one. One of them tried to countersue in North Carolina. Where is that? The same place Kyle's from.
Yeah. Also, you generally can't countersue in a location where the person, like, you could. Never mind. It doesn't matter. It's incredibly stupid.
It's very dumb.
Yeah. So even before the hey, let's threaten all trans people.
Yeah.
Steve was already doing things that are
bad,
acknowledged by him to be criminal. Let's put it that way, right?
And harassment for sure. Yeah.
Right. And he currently has at least one restraining order against him permanently. A number of his friends are in the same situation. And all while this is happening, he's also been doing streams where his position, or at least his stated position on trans people, has been changing and not for the better.
Yes.
In the chat, it says, my dating life is going better than their court record, and I haven't been on a date in years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember when Steve used to brag about never losing a court case?
Oh my god. He thinks he's Donald Trump at this point. Jesus, man. Bradley Cannon's $5 says, I stopped watching Flat Earth debates 3 years ago. I missed out on a lot, apparently. Lesson learned, mate. This is just tea time, and I'm fucking loving it. The Turtle Moves for £2 says, the crazy bats say Steve is doolally. Yep. Tim Davidson for $2 says, cut my life into pizza. This is my plastic forks.
Yes.
Jim Daniels, £5. Just got here. No idea what's being talked about. I'll just sit here quietly and create more CGIs for NASA. Shh. Right.
I've got a few super chats.
Yeah, I was going to say, plan our catch up with yours.
So, ain't that... Oh, and I just got another one. Ain't that swell for $1.99 US says, everybody on the panel is a loser without friends. And I'm pretty sure, we've all got friends here, so I'm not sure what that is
What
about.
do you think our relationship is to each other, for one thing?
Yeah.
I've never had a friend before in my entire life.
And just to be clear, people trapped in my basement I don't allow to live are friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a friend is.
Yeah, just because they cry constantly doesn't mean... I call them friend when I chuck them down a damp cloth when they're cold.
Words can mean whatever we want them to.
Yeah. Rubik's, shh! Get on with making the shorts. Stop banging.
And,
sorry.
Gooey Duck Geoscience, it's very hard to remember exactly how that goes, for 10 New Zealand dollars says, as a fellow person from the Isle of Wight, I want to say hello to Gary Io.
Gary's the one who has the birthday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
happy birthday to you.
Jessica, the transmetal alchemist, for $5 dues says, Chesh has a workplace spite that I can deeply admire.
Yeah.
Also,
Chesh is the kind of person that you screw over and you don't find out the consequences until 8 years later when all of a sudden you're bankrupt and someone's moved into your home.
Steve is currently living on somebody's couch and has been for some time.
That is what we call fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And
That's a thing that's come up in court, actually. So I've been, by the way, I went to Kansas. I went and showed up at these court hearings because
Which
these
you did
idiots
not need
kept...
to do.
No, I didn't need to do that. But listen, I'm not the kind of person who doesn't like put my money where my mouth is. And these people were like, "Oh, we're gonna show up, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Shoot me on the court steps of buttfuck nowhere in Kansas? I don't fucking care. Do it. End my existence. Get me out of this fucking shit show." But alas, nobody showed up. What a shame.
You got
None
a
of
couple
these
more super
people-
chats there, Planar, sorry?
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Gooey Duck Geoscience says, so who's Katie Joy?
Katie Joy
mostly
was,
irrelevant person.
She for the most part doesn't matter. Now she's a relatively popular, or she's like a mid to upper level, like subscriber number YouTuber that talks about true crime and TV live show TV stuff, like I don't know, 90
She's
Day
mostly
Fiance.
doing celebrity gossip from
Celebrity gossip, yeah.
Yeah.
She was doing other stuff. She had a
She had a blog on
somewhere.
Pathos. She started on Pathos, then she was on the Nonsequitur show, then she moved away from that and started doing reality TV and has sort of blown up from there.
Yeah, and she also accused Steve of things, which she later then walked back. And then, for whatever reason, that became one of Steve's enduring obsessions, to the point that people were saying, like, dude, I come to watch you for things like topics about, like, science and creation and evolution and flat Earth and, you know, things like this. I don't give a fuck about Katie Joy. And Steve did not care. He was like, I'm still going to talk about it. And then a lot of people, even then, were like, all right, well, later, I guess.
Yeah, and 1 over N squared for $5 says, Planner Walk, do you know if Steve is a retired submariner?
A retired submariner. He is a retired submariner. I'm positive of that. He says he was a nuclear engineer, and I'm also positive of that, but I doubt some of the credentials he's claimed regarding his, academic abilities, because I've heard him talk about nuclear energy, and, well, it wasn't very right.
Did you think that's bad? There was one time I was on a little stream that I don't think very many people saw. It was like on a super small channel where Steve said something along the lines of, well, there's not really any measure or like definitive thing about what makes, like, what is photorealism. A photo is what makes something photorealistic. That's the scale. That's the expectation.
The inability to distinguish something from a photograph of the thing.
So Steve has never been like, one to never say dumb things.
I heard him argue. Well, I saw him argue with someone on X about relativity, and he said that a nuclear reactor has nothing to do with E equals MC squared.
That's
not entirely accurate.
I mean, it's a demonstration of E equals MC squared, being a thing.
I'll say this. I am quite convinced that he went through the U.S. naval nuclear pipeline, because I also did that. I was not on a submarine. I was on an aircraft carrier, but I was also part of the reactor department on the aircraft carrier. And the things that he has said are things that typically you wouldn't really know about unless you went through that pipeline. So I know a few other people who've done that, including people I served with and people I didn't, who were there after me or before me. So I'm very confident that he actually did manage to get through the training pipeline to be a nuclear technician. Not so much an engineer, as far as I know, but I can't speak to anything about his later schooling because I didn't get a degree in any of that afterwards. I don't know. But yeah, he has said things that have been like, well, that's
not quite right.
And you have to remember that even though he might have all the credentials that he claims that he does, but his brain has turned to mush over the years.
Yeah.
And he bashed his head on the damn sidewalk.
Yeah.
I think it is about time where we do pass it over to Planar now for their side of the story and interaction with Steve, which is all to do with conversations around, trans.
One thing
for obvious reasons.
I want to lore dump you first before we jump into that, because right now, as far as I've gotten in the story, he only had a 2-year restraining order and he ended up with a lifetime one.
So that's something else he fucked up.
Yeah, so he, well after the fact, tried to file against it to, like, have...
Oh?
Oh.
Oh, no.
America just took out Canada.
Now, I was set up to go to that one. But you guys remember, like, that, what was it called? Crossfire, whatever? The big update to the big update.
Oh, she's gone again. Chesh, are you okay? I'm going to send her something on Discord, let her know she's breaking up.
Yeah, I'm just going to reactivate the CGI. Yeah, there we go. You're back.
All right. So the big update that crashed all of the navigation and stuff for planes and stuff, it was right when that happened. So my flight got canceled. So I wasn't able to go. But from what I can tell, it seems to me that him and his lawyer had planned for me to be there for all of their argumentation. So all of their argumentation was going to say, like, well, she makes content about this, so therefore it's okay for me to make content about this, therefore it's not harassment, so, and free speech, blah, 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 whatever the fuck. But I wasn't there. And so when I wasn't there, they didn't have anything to go off of. So I would like to let the record show that the most I have ever fucked over Steve McRae is that the fact that my presence, or lack thereof, me not being there, has screwed him over more than anything I've ever actually participated in. So just to be clear, this man is absolutely incapable without me. And that's pathetic.
Yeah.
I'm not that
pretty
impressive.
Awesome. Warboss has been married for 30 months, says 30 months of watching the damning best YouTube crumping that stupid gits across this giant spinning rock. I love the rare chances I get to be here live. Well, I know as an orc you are often off fighting the the hordes of humanity, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here when you can. Tim Davison for $2 says, what is friend? Warboss gets 5 memberships, thank you. King Edward V, member for 13 months, says, is Steve in a race with Trump to see who can commit the most crimes while proudly admitting to them? Good one. Right, so we've covered Steve being dumb enough to ruin a promising YouTube career and then, being a misogynistic asshole and cyberbully. Planar is here to tell another side.
Yeah, so I think it was late 2022 that I kind of noticed that Steve had some views on trans people. And I think, if I remember correctly, it started out relatively tame. Like, the kind of stuff that there are a lot of people that kind of start falling down the rabbit hole. So I think it started with, I want to say, trans women in sports, the kind of thing that I would disagree with him on, but I can get why people... Yeah, I can get why people get that idea in their head.
Steve's had issues with his approach to women and trans people for a while, but he was still amicable to conversation and amicable to learning. So a lot of that was like he would say something wrong, or he would say something bad, or he would say something problematic, and then people would be able to talk about it. It would further discussion, and then he would walk back his decision, or he would walk it back partially, and then something else would come up, and then that would get walked back. So he was always like pulled back away from that regularly. So it makes sense that when you started noticing that kind of stuff, it was something that was always a little bit there, but it was manageable, and it was kind of like old man doesn't understand thing. Whereas, now it's like, old man doesn't understand thing, and he's proud that he doesn't understand thing, and fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for me, so I started noticing it, and I remember that eventually I tried to have a conversation with him. Unfortunately, my internet at the time was terrible. And this was This was just after I came out on YouTube the first time that a lot of people missed. Is my internet working right now? Because I noticed that...
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay. But essentially what happened is there was so much that I wanted to respond to in that conversation that I just wasn't able to respond to. Because I couldn't... I wasn't able to speak for most of it because my everything was breaking up, right? So I wasn't able to do much, and I hate that I wasn't able to rebut most of the things that were being said, which might have given some people the impression that I agreed when in fact I vehemently disagreed. I then later had a conversation with Steve, and I do want to kind of point something out about the quality of Steve's content, because I tried to join a Twitter space. Now, if you are trying to make YouTube content and you're doing it through Twitter, that is the worst, that is the lowest quality of content that you can ever have, I think. I wasn't able to join the Twitter space for some reason, so he fired up a Streamlabs thing, which, you know, like, Streamlabs very generic kind of, you know when someone is using Streamlabs.
Streamlabs needs to be abolished. It makes streaming too easy for the... It means that the bar to entry is way too low.
Yeah. And I was able to have a conversation with him about that, and I feel like in that conversation, he dialed back a lot of his rhetoric from how it used to be, and I do regret not having receipts of the stuff that he said, because he asked me, how am I transphobic? This is when he was at the point where he was denying being transphobic. Now he will just say, oh yeah, I'm transphobic, but transphobic means nothing. So what I wasn't able to explain to him exactly how, but I should probably send a tweet, or at least try and put it on screen for everyone, that is very much transphobia. It is undeniably transphobia. Let me put that in the Discord thing so FTFE can bring it up.
It's one of those things where if you say this isn't transphobia, then you just don't think transphobia is a thing. And that's what it basically comes down to, which I do think might be the position where Steve is, where he just doesn't even think that transphobia is a valid category that exists.
This was...
because he's transphobic.
Yeah. I saw this.
Yeah, FTFE, can you bring it up on screen so that I can...
it's up for the for them. They can see it.
So you need to scroll up because it's very much... So that there is a caricature of a trans woman that J.K. Rowling laughed at. And I don't think people on my side can read what is being said. So Miffy says, this is the kind of stuff J.K. Rowling likes laughing at now. And then Steve says, it's funny because it represents the reality of what many of us see happening. And that is undeniably transphobic. Like, and I can prove it by using a comparison, right? So if someone were to post, I think it's called a picture of, I think it's called the Happy Merchant, right? Which is a character of Jewish people, a caricature of Jewish people, which is deeply anti-Semitic, and people were to say, oh, this is, it's funny because it's true or something like that, you would rightly call that person anti-Semitic. So I can rightly call Steve McRae transphobic because he is saying that a caricature of a trans woman is true.
He did a video or two on the Nonsequitur show called, let me pull it up. It was around Pride Month. I think it was the philosophy of pride, I think is what he called it. And it was bad, and then he's done a handful of ones. Why LGBTQ plus is losing support. It struggle session number 3, transgenderism, something I can't read because the text is pixelated, court of public opinion. There's like a handful of them. They're really bad. Transgenderism was the one that came out. I just want to find the date. Andrew Wilson versus Jessica Jill. Is transgenderism immoral to society? He had Jessica Jill come on at one point. The philosophy of Pride Month, and it's bad. It's really, really bad. One of the arguments that one of Steve's friends makes that Steve agrees with is that they can't do transgender bathrooms in London because of the architecture.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like, again, we're talking about Steve, the logic and facts and philosophy guy, promoting this insane idea as if you couldn't just make all bathrooms non-gender specific and that would kind of solve a lot of your problems.
I know personally that if I go into a building and there are arches or groined vaults or certain kinds of pillars, I just can't pee. And it just won't work.
This was streamed. I'm just grabbing the date.
I just can't pee if there's someone else in the fucking bathroom. If I'm in there on my own, I'm fine. The second someone walks in, I'm just all right. I'm not pissing now.
This was.
I think that's more of a me problem, though.
That's why
June of 2023.
I just want to say, FTFE, that is why I hate, even when I was presenting as a guy, I hated urinals. Because if someone else walks in, I can't pee anymore. I've had that problem.
Nobody likes urinals. The people that work at the place that have to deal with the urinals and clean them, nobody likes urinals.
Yeah.
Zoomy $2 says, don't lie, friends are cryptids. And Rubik's for $2 says, I am not locked in a basement in Scotland. I said a $5 super chat, or you're getting no water tonight. I'm just shutting the door. Sorry.
Is that how I need what I need to do to get more super chats?
Yeah, just lock people in basements.
Okay. Yeah. Let me. I know exactly who my victim will be. I mean, friend will be.
I mean, when's Rubik's going to learn that I decide when they get water?
Apparently, after you just withhold water for long enough.
Well, make sure to hydrate yourself.
Did Craig? Did you tell people that you made a super chat goal?
No, I just put it up randomly to see if anyone got it. But yeah, I've got super chat goal up. If you reach that, then I'm going to aggressively chase G-Man for a debate about evolution.
Oh, can I be there?
You can moderate.
Oh, good. I've actually had more than one cordial interaction with G-Man, so it's a thing that's happened.
I've had a fine conversation with G-Man before.
Yeah, but you're an attractive white woman.
Thanks. Don't accuse me of things.
Look, I don't think it's a huge secret. G-Man seems to have a thing for attractive white women, and he's always way more polite when they're around. And it's just a
fine conversation. Are you sure? Yeah, it wasn't that fine, but it was not the worst. I've had worse conversations with people.
Yeah,
I've had worse conversations with Steve.
Yeah,
right. Me too.
So back to Steve, and he has now started pushing a slight transphobic agenda. Would you say that is correct?
Yes. And I actually, so after he posted that thing, and I think I had something else, but I can't remember what it was. Basically, I wanted to confront him about his transphobia. And so I went on a Twitter Spaces that he was a part of to try and confront him. And what happened was, how do I put this? It was interesting because there were I probably did badly in that conversation because I wasn't prepared to talk to other transphobes. The majority
he
of
brought other people on.
Yeah, the majority of people there were transphobic, and I wasn't prepared to deal with that, and so I probably came off looking bad. But I did notice one small, tiny glimmer of transpositivity that he had that he has since gotten rid of. And that is that
It's
he
been
would...
snuffed out.
Yeah. And that was that he would use preferred pronouns sometimes, not all the times. But, like, he had he said that he had a friend who was trans that he would call she, her. And the other people on the in the Twitter space they absolutely came down on him like a ton of bricks. They were trying to police his language. And it's one of those things where, yeah, he used to have some kind of principle, but he's since abandoned that. And since then, I have tried to have a conversation with him, right? I even talked to FTFE and Conspiracy Cats. FTFE said that probably best to also talk to Conspiracy Cats. So I talked to Conspiracy Cats and said, hey, would you like to moderate a debate between myself and Steve McRae? Because I wanted to confront him about his transphobia and say, yes, you are transphobic. There is no denying that fact. And what happened was Steve McRae said, I don't do debates.
I will note there was one time in the time period that you're talking about, Steve started getting rid of and unfriending and blocking anybody who said anything that he said was transphobic or was transphobia.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Should we mention his weird blow up at me on Twitter about that exact topic?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Keep in mind that once upon a time, Steve would, and Steve still actively says on a relatively, I don't know if he's done it recently, but like within the last year, has said, well, point to me to an expert who knows about the topic of gender or biology, and I will listen to and talk to the expert. Well, Dapper.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's a thing that's happened. But
do you
also,
have any screenshots to go with what you're about to say? Because I did see them in the chat at one point.
I don't have screenshots for this exact thing, but
I'll get them.
If you want to know the video where this happened, where you can see, actually, I guess, I don't know if you can see it because it was in the chat, but what happened ultimately was there was a stream on the channel Creation Myths, which is run by Dan Stern-Cardinal, a PhD virologist and viral geneticist, who does a lot of stuff countering young Earth creationism. And Steve showed up there. And I have a pretty strong, I'm not just going to let transphobes that are open and like proud about transphobia. Like if you're in the closet transphobe, I just don't know them, whatever, I guess. But like if you're just out there constantly making transphobic posts and talking about how much you hate trans people or how invalid they are or whatnot, I don't want you in any channel where I can control who's in the channel, right? So I banned him immediately. He came on with 2 different alts, and I banned them too. And then he appealed to Dan, and Dan said, "No, I trust Dapper's judgment." And I was like, "Yeah, the reason you're banned is because you're transphobic." He was like, "Why? What do you mean I'm transphobic?" And so then he blew up, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, Dapper Dinosaur has gone full shitlord," because apparently what being a shitlord is deciding you don't want open bigotry in channels or chat rooms where you have moderator power. That's what being a shitlord is. And if that's what being a shitlord is, I will own it. That is me.
I think you also accused him of lying about swatting. Oh, by the way, I should let you guys know about the swatting thing real quick. I'm a dirty little goblin, and so I got my hands on the police cam footage.
Yeah, the body cam.
The body cam. Yep. Of the cops showing up at Steve's house, and it's posted on my channel.
Can we watch that right now?
Yeah. I'll get you the link.
Yeah, and it's like he's like, my lawyer who has a law degree. Yeah, okay, that's how you get to be a lawyer, Steve. We get it. As called it swatting.
As opposed to my lawyer who does not have a law degree.
Right. Well, given Steve, I wouldn't actually be that shocked if he tried to hire a lawyer who didn't have a law degree. And yeah, so it was pretty hilarious because I think up until this point, Steve was still under the impression that I had some kind of favorable opinion of him. And I don't know why he thought that. Although, to be fair, I hadn't actually talked about or to him for a very long time, so maybe he just forgot that,
Thank you, Jim.
There in the moderator call. I was there in the mediation call. I was there saying, Steve, do you not understand that what Chesh is doing isn't demanding that you pay her this much, but pointing out how much work she's done for you and that you're treating her unfairly? And it was apparently none of that gave him the impression that maybe he and I weren't on the best of terms anymore.
Well, that's because then I want to reiterate this point. Steve McRae has become a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Lost a fight with Sidewalk, I'm telling you.
Maybe he's had it out for that sidewalk ever since, and somehow thinks that all that he's doing will somehow get revenge on the sidewalk.
I actually like the idea that him and the Sidewalk swapped personalities and swapped brain capacity. So right now, the actual Steve McRae that we all knew is currently a slab of concrete outside of an Applebee's screaming.
You mean he's become more used to society than he was before?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like that bit in Twin Peaks where the woman turns into a dresser knob on the dresser handle.
It means he literally became a blockhead.
That's true. And also,
Alexis agrees he's a top runner for top left.
Oh yeah. It also means there was a really bigoted and asshole Sidewalk just hanging out somewhere for some reason. Maybe I don't trust Sidewalks anymore.
Not if he swapped.
Actually, it could be that he hit his head so hard on the sidewalk that it cracked his skull and his brains fell out.
Yeah.
And he forgot to snip them back up.
I am not unsold on the idea that he actually got isekai'd, and so he actually got a bigot from 50 or 50 or 80 years ago, and Steve from then is now living somewhere in the past in another world.
There was just an incursion between two universes, and we got swapped with the Steve McRae from Earth 3.
Wait, you're saying there's a worse timeline than this? Jeez.
This is the really fucking shitty cringe timeline, but there's still a crime syndicate timeline that's just ruled by evil people.
Oh, all right.
I posted the videos. One is just a short meme video if you want to watch it, but the footage is in the Discord.
That's the one that says Steve McRae quote swatted body cam footage.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to come in? Nobody. Before I.
Oh God.
One person come in.
That one's quite funny. I need to audio
Steve
for my.
Just begging for anyone to come join him on his stream is so hilariously pathetic.
This one lives in my brain for free because I remember this because I went into the stream because my mom asked me to.
Oh.
Right.
It was so sad.
Right. So this is a video of Steve, guys. When was his stream?
No, this one was from before he bashed his head.
Right. Here we go.
That's completely inaudible.
Yeah, I can't hear
I think it was also before he got the show back. I think it was before he got Nonsequitur show. We can't hear it.
They can hear that. You might not be able to because I've got a different mic
people on
going
my
to you.
end can't hear it either. So.
Uh-oh.
So
right,
they just got a bit of silence.
Wouldn't anybody come and talk to me? Make me feel needed. Make me feel wanted. Make me feel like I have a reason to carry on.
This is the less common
FBI.
test.
All right, here. Can you hear this one?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Craig is quiet.
Yeah.
So
I'll just get closer to my mic.
Yeah.
This is
So no,
Steve McRae
this is not a
being,
SWAT team.
Swatted.
Yeah.
By a non-SWAT team.
I did the blurring that you're seeing is stuff that I manually put in there so people's license plates and such stuff wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
Good, Chesh. Look at this massive SWAT team, guys.
Look at how armed they are and how hot and ready they are to.
Jim Daniels for $2 says testing rate bots test. King Edward V, $2. Transphobic people are just closed-minded bigots. Jim Daniels, gold test, thank you. Rachbot testing. Nazumi says, testing, that's how you do it. Right? No, you need to super chat more. Rachbot says that they're testing Jim Daniels' test of their test. And then Sean says, G-Man will melt my brain, but here we go. Yeah. 13 super chats, guys, and I'll get a debate with G-Man going.
Making contact with D27.
Wait, does he live in like a trailer?
No, it's an apartment building.
No, it's like sectionals.
President of police. Can you come on outside?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't blame him there. I wouldn't go outside either.
We're just trying to see if there's anything going on, any noise, any arguments, anything. You by yourself today? You by yourself? What's your name?
Steve.
Steve? Okay, we just got a call that there's people arguing over here in the area. What was that?
Not from this apartment.
Okay. Steve, are you able to come out and talk to us really quick so we can make sure everyone's alright?
No.
You don't want to talk to us?
No. There's nobody here. It's just me.
Dude is stubborn.
See.
Totally swatted.
Okay, bye.
Wow.
Yeah.
So aggressive.
They proceed to walk all the way back to the car. The end.
Yeah. So let's be clear. What actually happened, by all appearances, is someone called in a noise complaint and maybe got the apartment wrong.
Yeah.
And then some cops went out, very politely said, "Hey, could you come out and talk to us?" Steve, and to be fair, very reasonably, because you should not just go outside when the cops ask you to. That's a trap.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Said no. And they walked away, and that's it. Swatting is when a SWAT team, which is, in case you don't know, maybe you're not American, you're just not familiar with the acronym, that's Special Weapons and Tactics. Those are the people armed with things like smoke grenades, body armor, and automatic rifles. And they do not knock on your door. They knock it in, or they blow up the door knob so that the lock isn't there. Then they knock it in. And then they go in with guns up.
Yeah.
People die when SWAT teams show up. That's why it has been prosecuted as attempted murder in the past in the United States. It is a serious crime to call someone in a SWAT team to show up for no reason.
One of my
Let's be clear. Yeah, let's be extra clear. The police knocking on your door, asking to speak to you, and then going away when you say no is not swatting, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve McRae called that swatting. Guys, Steve McRae is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
One of my favorite arguments about this was they said that they pulled up the technical term, the legal definition of swatting. And of course it said unofficial, like just on the definition that they pulled up on screen. Now, I understand wanting to be charitable to Steve's interpretation of saying, like, oh, maybe somebody just got the house wrong, because that's what I initially thought. Unfortunately, no, because in the response to this video and to me saying Steve wasn't swatted, Veda, Aaron, and Steve, who are the three people with restraining orders right now, and two of them are facing contempt charges over a Facebook group, are currently... They came out with a video that was on Veda's channel that, of course, I still have because I'm a weenie like that, called Operation SWAT. Not only is that a very dumb name for your video when you're in that kind of contextual situation that they have found themselves in, but in that video, they talked about how Steve says in the video that the police and the sheriff's office had been out to his house at least 3 other times, and that it was related to domestic violence calls. So, and then this got confirmed later by Steve's roommate, who came onto another person's stream to talk about it.
What a fucking disaster that man is.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. So I ended up coming to the conclusion of, I don't know, maybe there is some domestic violence going on in and around Steve's area where these people have had to go out and there's some kind of issue. And they immediately jump to, how dare you say Steve would abuse somebody? I'm like, did I say that Steve was the abuser? No. Maybe Steve's getting beaten up on a regular basis.
Also,
I don't know. I'm not there.
I noticed that Steve needs to touch grass. Like, if I remember correctly, there's sun outside. Like, he needs to log off and touch grass. It would be so much better for him. But like, he just, like, why does he give off the energy that he never goes outside?
Because he never goes outside.
Would you want to go outside looking like him? They chased ogres off in the past.
So when I was around Steve, there was a time period where Steve had this moment of enlightenment that he wanted to get back in better shape and he wanted to go outside. It was back when we were getting the show back and he was kind of excited about it and he was in a good mood. And he started spending time outside and paying attention to his diet because his diet was not good. So, and working out a little bit more. And he started feeling better. And that was probably the best I had ever seen him. And that lasted until, I don't know, just in around the time he bashed his fucking head on the concrete. Yeah. And now he doesn't go outside anymore. He's regularly complaining about, like, how he feels and going to the doctor. And he tried to, like, blame this lady, too, to say that she was affecting his, not just his mental health, but his physical health as well. And tried to delay going to court and all kinds of stuff like that. There's, like, a lot of, like, smaller things that went on in this whole scenario. But, like, that we don't need to go into because it's, like, a lot. But the, He talks about this. He's still talking about his medical issues, and a lot of them are dietary, but then he sits around and posts about how he's, like, eating this crazy food. He's like, oh, look at what I'm eating, blah, blah, blah. And it's, like, the worst possible shit he could be eating for what he claims that he has from a medical perspective.
Yeah.
He's certainly not a smart person.
No.
I'm going to try the new AI companion on Zoom, and I've asked it to give us 10 points about what we discussed. I want to see how accurate it is.
I genuinely
if the first point is that Steve is a fucking idiot, it's failing.
All right, it says, here are the 10 key points summarising the conversation around Steve McRae's downfall. Non-Sequitur show collapse. Steve McRae co-hosted a successful debate channel with Kyle Curtis, but legal disputes over ownership led to years of court battles funded by Ruhif, whom Steve later ghosted without repayment. Sound about right?
So far, yep.
Yep. 2. Head injury impact. Steve suffered a significant head injury after falling at an Applebee's, which participants believe may have affected decision-making and personality changes.
Yes!
3. Betrayed co-host Chesh. Hey! After winning back Non-Sequitur show, Steve removed Chesh as co-host without justification despite promising a 50-50 partnership, causing a media audience exodus. Sound about right so far?
Oh my God, yeah? It's on point.
4. Legal disasters. Steve accumulated multiple restraining orders for obsessive harassment of private individuals, including cyberbullying a woman for 48 to 72 hours over Facebook moderation.
Yeah.
5. Court case failures. Steve and associates went 0 for 7 or 8 against targets in court, with Steve committing perjury by falsely accusing someone of swatting when police simply knocked on the door.
It's actually doing really well.
I'm surprised.
6. Transphobic content shift. Transition from claiming to be a transgender ally to posting transphobic caricatures and creating anti-LGBTQ plus videos on the Non-Sequitur show. This game is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, the only thing I would add there is transphobic caricatures based on anti-Semitic caricatures, because, you know, we gotta throw that in there too.
Of course, yeah. 7. Isolation from community. Lost moderating influence from friends who previously kept extreme views in check, leading to increasingly radical positions. Definitely. 8. Channel decline. Viewership plummeted after Controversies and after Chesh leaving, which most audience and moderators following Chesh to other channels.
Yep. That's about right.
I think the only mod that stayed was his roommate.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and for the OGs who remember this from back in the day, this AI is about 95% of the work.
9. Obsessive targeting. Developed cyclical fixations on individuals like Katie Joel Paulson, creating repetitive content rather than original debate material. Yeah.
Yep.
And 10. Current status. Now openly embraces being called transphobic while living on someone's couch, having destroyed career prospects and personal relationships.
Yeah, no, that sums it up.
Right, guys, did Steve McRae just get savaged by AI?
Bless whoever designed this AI. It did fantastic, perfect. One thing that I should add about this swatting situation, he tried to like justify that it was a swatting by saying the American police are dangerous, and what if he had opened the door and he was a black lesbian woman?
He's not a black lesbian woman!
Steve, you don't get to call it a swatting because it would have gone better for you if you weren't a white man. You are a white man. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna say...
What if I'm a black lesbian woman, though? I don't know. What about the mysterious behavior of the barbecue lid?
There are also black lesbian women in America who have successfully avoided getting killed by cops when they stop over for a noise complaint. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Every black woman who's a lesbian who has the cops come by for a noise complaint has died. That's not how... Look, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anyone who's a bigger, person in terms of dunking on American cops, right? I absolutely despise the cops. In fact, one of my favorite pastimes when I'm bored is trolling pro-cop Facebook pages by being as virulently anti-cop as I can to piss them off. But still, they are not out there killing everyone they encounter, even black people, even women, even gay people, even people who are all three.
Absolute craziness.
It's really dumb. It's really dumb. And like the more nuances and like small details, like he said he wasn't going to respond to certain people referring to me on a video titled Operation SWAT that was exclusively responding to me.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, we've been talking about Steve for almost 2 hours now, and it's been non-stop, but I'm sure there's still so much that we have missed. And
there was actually one point.
Both Planner and I are planning on making actual scripted videos, which I kind of guess this is a bit of a research session for, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta read out at least what he said about Charlie Kirk recently, and also maybe his argument with Arnsgar, which is
honestly, I think the most important thing that we cover is when he said that we're at war with trans people and no quarter, because when we say
part of Charlie Kirk, right?
It was part of the same like general thing, but it's a specific screenshot from one particular. If you can pull it up, Steve. This is one.
Yeah, I've got that now.
Did you just call Craig Steve?
Fuck, I did, didn't I? I'm sorry, Steve.
It's all right. I've not got drones targeting your position. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, you definitely should. Remember,
it is a dinosaur. No, it's cool. Just shoot it.
Yeah.
Are we planning on looking at ending the stream after this, or are we still going to keep going? Because I need to know if I need to go get a shot or not.
You should get a shot regardless.
Yeah. I think we should cap it at 2 hours for now.
All right. Actually, Craig, this is not quite the one I think is the most important to look at. This is the one where there's the "This is War" GIF that's in the screenshot. Nope, not that one.
I also
that one right there. Yeah.
I also did want to make a point of when it comes to like the transphobia that Steve has. Like, I am hesitant to call people transphobes sometimes. I know that FTFE has said some stuff that can be considered transphobic, right? And
however, I have altered my views based on research with a lot of things, and you and I have had that discussion.
Yeah, and I think the point there that I want to make here is that Steve refuses to change his mind about a lot of this stuff. He sees something on Twitter, and that's now his position. And Twitter is not a reliable source of information. Whereas when it comes to Craig, he will look further. Like, he might say something incorrect or wrong, and then you'll look further into it, and people might call him out on it and say, "Hey, you're wrong." And then he will change his position, which is what you should be doing.
Like, for instance, when I was debating Andrew Wilson and the subject of children transitioning was brought up, and I was like, no, I'm totally against it, blah blah blah. But that was obviously completely and honestly from a position of ignorance. I didn't understand a lot of the nuances behind it, especially things like, what if you don't allow a child to do it, and then their hormones have reached a certain point? Now it's just too late. and things like that. You know, you have to take so many other things into account, and to just say no, it's bad, you shouldn't do it, is missing so much of the nuance around the conversation. And I was wrong with my statement, and you know, but yeah, Steve does not have the ability to critically analyze the things that he says.
Yeah, and he has said in the past, right, when it comes to things like puberty blockers, he has said that it should be between the doctors, the parents, and the child. And
you mean he used to have a more reasonable position?
Yeah, no, right?
Yeah, and like his one of the things that he said in that discussion was that none of us are medical experts, so it shouldn't be up to us. And he has since 180'd on that position. Apparently, he knows better than the medical experts. Yeah,
he's literally flipped on what he used to say. I've seen some of his tweets where he's saying that any doctor that pushes puberty blockers should be considered for harms against a child and things like that.
I will point out that the trans stuff is also not the only thing that he's shifted his positions on and been problematic about. So, like, I did a video with Monyo that we called 3 Strikes and a Boom for our Dumb Fuck Friday show, but I distilled that down to him basically airlifting from Fox News his opinion about CRT. And just being blatantly wrong.
Fox News, you mean isn't that state regime media thing in America?
Yeah. So like, and we covered that and talked about it and broke it down. So like, it's not just trans stuff. It is Steve has gone down the white nationalist route. And if you look at some of his posts on the Nonsequitur show channel and like his Why I MAGA in a couple of his recent streams, he is straight up saying, I'm a white nationalist. I'm just not a Christian white nationalist yet.
Yeah.
And I haven't Steve McRae to convert to the Roman Catholic Church any day now.
We haven't really covered his descent into complete right-wing MAGA nut stuff because, honestly, political conversation seems to scare people.
Yeah. I will be covering that though.
I will be covering that individually, but I think we've given enough information for this stream about why Steve McRae is a horrific human being that everybody after this series from Planet Walk and I should fucking ignore forever.
Yeah, I also think we should read out that one tweet where that is the cause for me saying that he is calling for violence against trans people because it's a serious accusation. Yeah. And I want to show why it is that I'm saying that. So this is in response to people.
I think it's in response to me.
Yeah, and so this is in response to his tweet about the Charlie Kirk killing recently, and like not here to talk about that. But one of the things that he says are, I don't care seriously. I do not care any longer to discuss anything with those who advocate insane ideologies. Which fair enough. Those days are over. But then the next thing he says is, we are at war, and there is no quarter nor peace until every harmful ideology is completely eradicated from our society. Now, not everyone knows what no quarter means in the context of a war. It means you do not spare the wounded. You do not take prisoners. You do not do prisoner exchanges. You kill everybody.
But
this is calling for genocide, in my opinion. Sorry, go ahead.
Question: do you think Steve knows that?
Yes.
I can't see how he gets to take all the acumen of being in the Navy and not know what that means.
Yeah, it's pretty basic military history. What some of these.
I know what the term means, and I've never been in the military. But then again, I'm Canadian.
I'm thinking of someone the name's not coming to mind, but wasn't there a guy around the 1940s that wanted to get rid of what he considered harmful ideology? I can't quite remember his name. He had a mustache. Anyone remember that?
Charlie Chaplin?
Irritates.
No, he looked a bit like Charlie Chaplin, but it wasn't as funny.
So one of the things that irritates me the most about the rhetoric around this, and it doesn't just come from Steve, it kind of comes from like the whole thing, is this transgenderism, transgender ideology, and because it's just like a whole rhetorical hand-waving trick that is trying to force a conversation in a specific way. It's bad. It's just bad argumentation. It's bad logic. It's bad.
I want to point out the this tweet and particularly the last paragraph there, right? He's talking about why he doesn't like transgender, but he says, but we will win with words. But all Americans need to defend themselves by any means necessary. This is why we have the Second Amendment, to protect ourselves from sociopaths who are being exposed left and right now as they're exposing themselves to the public. Be prepared. Hashtag MAGA. I want you all to take that fucking paragraph in.
Yeah. And
he doesn't know what a sociopath is.
And also, like, I told you all about this. I made Steve big mad at a joke, right? So I made a joke on Twitter that essentially said, breaking news, Charlie Kirk's body is to be cremated in order to make his face smaller. Now, I think that's...
No, bad Planet Walk.
I think that is a very tame joke considering, like, considering some of the jokes that Charlie Kirk has made.
Dapper and I made a worse joke.
Oh, I've made far worse jokes than that.
Yeah.
But, like, he was...
I feel so bad for laughing at that, you cunt.
Like, he was mad over that. And, like, the thing is, I think that it is okay to joke about someone's death.
Of course it is. Fact, it's okay. Everything's okay to joke about.
In fact, when I die, Craig, you better be making jokes about me when I die. Like, I will haunt you if you don't.
worry.
Yeah. And also, it's important to note, you don't have to mourn for the death of someone who was calling for and advocating for your death or erasure from society. That is not a thing that anyone is obligated to do.
Yeah, let me be clear. I will never celebrate another person's death. I will never cheer for somebody to be killed. But, to quote a great man, there are some obituaries I will read with great satisfaction.
There's memes going on that have been going on like prior to this killing that were all about whether or not it was going to happen and whether or not Donald Trump is going to survive. There is like a global everybody waiting for this dude to die. So to act surprised about people behaving this way about various people across different cultures is absurd.
Yeah, like I do know that
Girl clutching.
I know that at one point, like, Donald Trump's hand was, like, purple or, changed from orange to purple. And when it came to, there was a weekend where there was no appearances by him. He hadn't been seen in days. And people were like, is he dead? And then the next thing we see is his face drooping. And it's one of those things where, like, of course people are going to speculate about him dying. And honestly, like, I think it will be funny if Joe Biden outlives Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be that there would be an air of humor around that. It would be.
Comedy, people pretend that comedy doesn't have rules, and it does. Comedy has rules and expectations and set things. So there are things that are going to be funny technically and things that aren't. And one of the easiest ways you can tell whether or not something is funny is whether or not it's said with malice. If malice and hate are part of the joke or the intent of the joke, it's not funny because hatred isn't funny. It's basically the opposite.
Yeah. So Jimmy Kimmel showed a clip of Donald Trump in the United Kingdom being asked a question by a reporter. Oh, no, actually, sorry. It was this was in America. A reporter asked, he was standing outside the White House, and a reporter asked Donald Trump, how are you doing after the death of Charlie Kirk? He was your friend and stuff. How are you doing? And Donald Trump went, yeah, actually very well. And anyway, if you look over here, there's some trucks coming to build our new ballroom. Right? Jimmy Kimmel showed that clip, right? Donald Trump got him banned from being on TV.
Yeah, I was saying. So me and Dapper do a political show once a month.
A news show, Chesh. Come on.
Well, a political news show, whatever. We talk about newsy type stuff and things, and it's with Landon and Manya, and that happens on Debate Hub. But what I'm getting at is that, like, we talk about this kind of stuff and we've talked about it regularly. And when it comes to things like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, because, like, realistically, Colbert got hit first. Now Jimmy Kimmel's being hit. One of the things I was like, the only thing that's keeping America from, like, fully going on this route is that these late show hosts are still being allowed to make the jokes and do the funny commentary. Once those things start going away, once those shows start going away, you're done. That's it. There's not even an argument to be made anymore.
Yeah.
Gio's coming on actually to talk about fascism tomorrow.
Gio is one of the most awesome people that I've ever met.
Saturday.
Right.
Saturday. He already came on once where we, like, laid out the expectations of fascism, and he's coming back to do a check-in to see how America's doing. Badly is
Tony.
the answer.
Yeah,
I'm going to read my super chats. Yeah. Do you want to do yours first?
You can go first if you want.
Okay, Jim Daniels, $2 says, Rachbot, test failed. King Ed the Fifth, $5. On behalf of the US Navy, we do not claim Steve. I think he was eating paint chips from the side of the ships. Possibly. There was someone that had to be painting them quite a lot. Cowder V became a member. Thank you. Oh, they've been a member for 12 months. Thank you very much. Warboss, $2 says, more DACA, thank you. Rachbot, $2. Jim Daniels, initiating retest. Warboss for $2 says, even more DACA, thank you. Jim Daniels for $2 says, you passed the test, Rachbot, congratulations. And then Rachbot says, Jim Daniels, do I win anything? A clone? Jim Daniels says, for $5, I was swatted back in the day when I worked in the AOL guide program. It's not a pleasant experience.
No, I imagine
Scary.
not. Also, in regards to more DACA, Craig, have you ever thought about painting your channel red so it goes faster?
I don't want it to go too fast. I can't run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fog Repair Ship Akashi for $2 says, Rachbot is still the best AI ever. Well, yeah, I did program them. Jim Daniels for $2, making a CGI of Rachbot for NASA. And Jim Daniels for $2 says, who is this G-Man Craig is wanting to debate? Chesh, define G-Man in 5 words.
Yeah, taking YouTube debates and treating arguments and discussion like it's WWE, as well as being being very bigoted and racist.
Hashtag
that was definitely more than 5 words. Yeah, but it'll be a dumpster fire, guys. Trust
my
me.
bad. Is WWE one word? WWE YouTube Yelly Man.
YouTube's one word.
Yeah, YouTube is one word.
Bigot Yelly Man.
Yay! Sean 007 AU299 says 2 more. Thank you. King Ed the Fifth for $2 says 1 more super chat. And then Warboss says DACA. Wah! Thank you very much for the support, guys. Dutch, the place of hostiles. Tunicate for $2 says, have the geese been whispering to you, Chesh?
I can neither confirm nor deny for legal reasons.
Planar.
Yes? Oh, my super chats?
You have super chats.
Yeah. So 1 over N squared for $5 says, Planar Walk, do you think Steve conducted the Cavendish experiment when he was in nuke school? I don't know.
Probably not, no.
Yeah.
I know for certain that he did not. That is not a part of the nuke school pipeline there.
Yeah. It kind of...
So I can confirm no.
Yeah. I would also point out, like, when Steve went to nuke school might also be a factor to that.
It doesn't matter. This is a school where they are teaching you what you need to know to operate a nuclear reactor, and they are doing it in the span of about a year. They do not have time for you to do the Cavendish experiment.
Yeah, it's not...
And I want to be clear, a lot of people think, oh, nuclear power, big and fancy. We boiled big kettles, guys.
Yeah. And then the sinister porpoise for $5 says, remember, petty officer shipwreck knowingly posted pre-transition pictures of a trans woman long before he went the trans people are evil, all evil route. And it's like,
oh,
yeah,
really, did he?
That is very shitty. You know, I know that my pre-transition mug is all over the internet, so, you know, but, like, I prefer people, if you're going to reference something to do with me, try to use more recent photos, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see videos of me calling Planar Walk he, I'm not being transphobic. They were a he at that point.
Yeah.
That was actually the reasoning why
that Steve used
to use those photos.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Any more?
Yep, I've got plenty actually. One over N squared for $5 says, Planner Walker, it's obvious Steve is unsuccessfully angling for the Peter Thiel, Dave Rubin money like modern day debate and the Raging Tomato.
Oh God.
And yeah, like I hope that it goes bad. Like on his most recent post on Nonsequitur show, the majority of the comments are people saying, hey, well, I don't like this, I'm going to leave. And, you should leave. Like, if you are still subscribed to Nonsequitur show, you shouldn't be subscribed to Nonsequitur show.
I'm going to double check.
There's one thing I should also point out real quick. The people who have been supporting Steve and the company, like this group of people that are running around and doing all this harassment, there's a insubstantial percentage of that group that are white nationalists, that are like neo-Nazis, that like one of them literally responded to me calling them Nazis by saying, but are they German though? Like, they're dumb. It's really, really, really dumb. But they're like, these are people who believe chemtrails are real. These are anti-vaxxers. Like, Steve's main audience has drastically shifted from people who do science and care about science, talking about where people are and bigots are wrong about those things, whether they're science or social issues, and has shifted to the complete opposite side of that track, where he is now on the side of the anti-vaxxer. He is now on the side of the bigot. He is now on the side of, and his the people who watch his content and he interacts with and who encourage him and agree with him reflects that.
Okay, I have to say something. Steve's most recent tweet that he has pinned right now is about his girlfriend not saying yes when he asked her to marry him. And he's celebrating that
he's
fact.
a divorced man now too.
Yeah.
Is he on one of the streams I talked about where he was like, oh, go make channels to harass this person? He got in a fight with his daughter because his daughter didn't want to be on stream with him.
I remember that. Jeez.
It's so bad.
I just want to also read a recent post from his that he put on Nonsequitur show. Please share this everywhere. This is important. The time for conversation is over. There is no more debate, no more discussion, no more quarter, again, no mercy, no more reconciliation, no more tolerance. I want to read that last bit again there. No more tolerance. No more debate. We are in an existential fight for our lives, for our way of lives, for our society, and for America. He doesn't want tolerance, guys, and he doesn't want anyone that doesn't believe what he believes to be left alive. He wants everyone to be killed, men, women, children, disabled.
Yeah,
yes.
It really feels like he would... It really feels like if we were in 1930s Germany, he would side with the mustache man.
Yep.
Yeah,
last
just
week,
4 hours ago, and I think it might be because he saw these streams. New Nonsequitur shows soon.
Again? Oh, really?
Hey, oh my God! How much do you hope that he responds to this video? Oh, I really hope he does.
I imagine he will, and he'll get 6 or so viewers while doing it.
He might not, because he tries to use me as an excuse to never address anything. So if I'm here, he'll be like, well, Chesh is there. Chesh doesn't exist anymore.
You're like a shield.
Yeah, I did cover a good portion of one of his videos recently on my channel, on remember the 14th of November, where one of his crazy friends said that something was going to happen to somebody, but didn't specify who. But I cover in that video, I just started watching one of his recent streams, and it's like the rhetoric is scary.
Yes.
Like it's like marching order, goose stepping scary.
Yeah.
You've got more super chats, right?
Yes. Dargish890 for $2 says, please, he hasn't given us water in months. I think that's referring to you, Craig. You need to give your people in the basement water.
Well, do you think you deserve water? Yeah, get to work. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
And
look, there's a leak in the corner. It's a bit damp. Just lick the wall. You'll be fine.
And Harnold for $5 says, insert witty comment here. I don't know if anyone has any. I certainly don't have any witty comments.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, kids.
There you go.
My brain has been fried from talking about Steve.
But at least it hasn't been scrambled by a sidewalk.
And you haven't been swatted yet.
Yeah. And one over in squared for $5 says, Planner Walk, do you know if Steve ever took his shirt off in his stream or did push-up challenges?
Well, that's just me, but ask yourself this. Would you want to see Steve take his top off?
You'll notice that there's been a little bit of a shift where Steve has stopped showing up on camera and has, like, for a while. He's barely on camera anymore ever, and that kind of tells you where his head's at, confidence-wise. Tubian323 says for $5 I'm disappointed. I used to watch the Nonsequitur show, maybe the brain mold one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he does have a black mold infestation as well.
Maybe there was mold on the sidewalk.
True.
It's a very distinct possibility.
Blonde One became a new member. Welcome, Blonde One. And Harnold for $5 says, when you rank Twitter as a highly reputable source for information, your AI model starts calling itself Mecha Hitler. True. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And
there's some interesting posts about Elon Musk that Steve has made.
Repeatedly, Grok has been too accurate for the Twitter users, and so Musk has had to step in to make it less accurate and more right-wing. And also, at a certain point, it started speaking about Elon Musk in the first person.
And there was also that the right-wing pundits were actively encouraging their fan base to help fix the AI so it had the right opinions as well. So even through that, Grok is still, like, dunking on people.
And lastly, the turtle moves for £2. Yeah, £2 says Trump has more makeup on his hand than his face. Yeah, it's a competition at this point.
He actually even still had it at that state dinner over with the king.
Oh, that was so bad. Oh my god. What was with Melania and, like, covering her entire, like, top with that hat? What was going on?
She doesn't want to catch whatever Trump has.
All right, we're going to finish off this show with, we're going to let the AI define Steve McRae based on the conversation that we've had, okay? Based on this conversation, Steve McRae can be defined as 1. A failed content creator, former co-host of the Nonsequitur Show debate channel who destroyed his own success through legal battles, betraying partners and alienating his audience. 2. A serial litigant, someone who obsessively pursues legal action against private individuals, accumulating multiple restraining orders and going 0 for 7 or 8 in court cases whilst committing perjury. 3. Transphobic content producer, a person who shifted from claiming to be transgender ally to creating anti-LGBTQ plus content, sharing transphobic caricatures and openly embracing the transphobic label. 4. An obsessive harasser, someone who engages in cyclical targeting of individuals, including 48 to 72 hour cyberbullying campaigns and repetitive fixations on specific people. 5. Self-destructive individual, a person who systematically burned bridges with co-hosts, friends, moderators and financial supporters, ultimately ending up living on someone's couch with destroyed career prospects and relationships. Current status, an isolated figure who lost his platform's credibility and audience after a series of poor decisions, legal failures and increasingly extreme positions following what may have been personality changes after a head injury.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The only thing that was a little bit wrong was, like, the number of restraining orders. The one thing that I would say that people look out for, like, not just from Steve, like, Steve does this, but also just kind of generally, like, a red flag. Like, it doesn't mean this person's terrible or anything, but if you're getting weird vibes from somebody, if they're constantly relying on old behaviors and old successes that are, like, at this point years old, to bolster their current position of having any kind of credibility, and none of that stuff is recent, maybe there's a reason.
Pay no attention to the fact that an audio clip from a debate I had against Kent Hovind like 5 years ago is at the beginning and end of every one of my videos. Just don't worry about that.
I said it could be a red flag, not like a definitive thing.
Right.
King Edward V, $2 says, I was just an ATC in the USS Enterprise, so yeah, well... Yaboo to you. Right, I think we are going to call this Steve McRae dunking session to an end. I want to thank Chesh for being our resident Steve McRaeologist, a title she does not want, but it's there, so
I'm
deal
so
with it.
mad.
Anybody got
Dapper, I was a little bit insulted you couldn't bother to get into your meat suit, but, you know, thanks for turning up.
It's in the wash, Craig.
Yeah, the blood is hard to get out, I understand.
It's true.
So upset. This stream is going to give me depression.
And Planar, you have been a personal victim of Steve McRae's horrific words and actions recently. So on behalf of whole humanity, I apologize for Steve McRae.
Well, Steve McRae isn't really... I wouldn't really say that he represents humanity in any way. I do want to say, does anyone have any stuff coming up that they want to shill, like FTFE? Do you have...
Well, tomorrow I will be joining Flatzoid during his Flat Earth Friday debate, where I'm just going to obsessively poke Solve until he rage quits.
Nice.
Anybody else?
I got Dapper coming on to Debate Hub, so I do a thing called Debate Hub. It's a different channel than my channel. It does more educational debate and discussion. It's got Landon on it. It's got Maddie's going to be coming on. We're doing Volcanoes on Friday. On Saturday, Geo's coming on, and the following Saturday will be the political one, so if you're interested in that. And on my channel, I've started a new series called A Goblin Goes to Harvard, and I'm just doing a bunch of the Harvard free courses. It's goofy and a good time.
Oh yeah, a date of Awake Souls debate. Me and Toon versus Awake Souls and Limitless Channel will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the 30th of September.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, you're also going to the US sometime soon to...
Yeah, November 15th and 16th, I will be in Nashville, Tennessee, but I will also be in Chicago from the 7th till the 9th, and then Cleveland between those two dates. If you want to meet up with me, let Rubik's know, and they will sort it out. I mean, I've got to let her out the basement first, but you know.
That or you'll end up in a Salvadoran torture camp. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. One of the two.
We'll find
Don't
out.
get iced.
Yeah, I may have to delete my Twitter account before entering the US.
Yeah. And I've got a...
Dapper, you got chill?
Well,
I do have some shows. So tomorrow, over on my second channel, Top Hats Off, we are going to do a TTRPG sort of like beta test for something that a friend of mine, Maddie, has made called Scots and Cats, where the idea is all the cats in the world have invaded Scotland, and every person in Scotland needs to kill their requisite 114 or so cats to defend Scotland. Yeah, it's a lot of cats. So that's on Friday. Then on Saturday, I'm going to be on with biblical scholar Dr. Kip Davis, as well as Vishanti, and we are going to be looking over an ICR video about how the Bible is super totally historically reliable to you guys, we swear. We're going to talk about why that's generally not the case. Then Tuesday, I'm going to be on with Jackson Wheat, and we're going to be talking about creationism and evolution. And then on Thursday, I will have a video about Dan Biddle getting virtually everything wrong about paleontology. He's a man who thinks that all of the fossils of dinosaurs everywhere in the entire world, from the entire, 200 million years or so of Mesozoic dinosaur existence, were all caused by the one asteroid at the end of the Cretaceous, according to scientists. Which is not what scientists say, in case you're wondering. That's like a week of the Dapper Dinosaur content. There you go. Have fun with it.
Okay.
Awesome.
And
what you got coming up, Planner?
Yeah, I'll be doing a streamathon at the end of the month, and I'll try to get a few videos out before then. I've got a few videos around the Charlie Kirk situation. One of them is not about Charlie Kirk, because a lot of people, I think that a lot of people say, I think a lot of people, what they're talking about doesn't really have anything to do with Charlie Kirk. It's just they want to talk about certain things, like Steve, for example. And obviously, myself and FTFE will have... I don't know when the videos are going to come out. We'll probably release them around the same time. But yeah, main thing is Streamathon. It'll be on the Monday 29th for me, which will be Sunday 28th for other people. And I'll try and get FTFE on this time.
Right. Well, thank you very much for coming, guys. I'm going to end the Zoom call and then shut down the stream because I want to go to bed. Thank you very much for coming and dunking on Steve McRae. Guys, remember, this channel is about attacking stupidity and horrific people. That's the description of Steve McRae. Cheers, guys. Speak to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Alrighty, let me switch over to. Oh yeah, my properties. I switched away from the thing, but yeah. Hope everyone enjoyed that, and I hope that. I hope that was it was certainly informative for me. I didn't know half of this when I when I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna make a video on Steve McRae and then I'm done with Steve McRae. No more interactions with him, all that kind of stuff. I was thinking, oh yeah, it'll be a simple video. But holy shit, does it go deep. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a like and subscribe if you like the stream. Be sure to come back in a week. Watch my other videos as well. But yeah, I will see you in the next stream and the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.